Sky these months. I'm going through September 8th because that's when it gets boring. Yep. Planets in the west. Yeah, we missed the big one, the 8th and 9th. More of the occult, the nearly occult, and the Perseids. This should be a great year. And then more occult. That's what we would have seen on the 10th. Venus and Jupiter. Any of you who read the article, the last one I did in the Coast Reporter, they did a beautiful job. They took a picture that I took in 99 of a really close conjunction, half a degree, I think, between Venus and Jupiter. And it printed beautifully. And I sent Bronwyn a really big thank you for that. That really popped. This one, not so much. It's 1.5 degrees apart, and I've got Mercury highlighted in the stellarium screenshot. And no prizes for guessing where the ecliptic runs through on that. Venus is going that way, Jupiter's going this way, but it isn't. We're going around the sun faster than it is, so it's falling behind the sun because we're moving faster. Next one. So that was the 10th. And today, in an hour and a half, it'll look like this. You'll notice Mercury is getting a little closer. Venus has passed Jupiter. Mercury is fading now because it's come around from behind the sun. And although it's getting closer and the disk is bigger, less and less of it is lit up. So it's fainter. That's why they called it the messenger of the gods, because it's doing this back and forth between all the gods who traveled in that plane. They were the stars. Next one. And on the 16th, here comes the moon. So there you go. You've got 4 heavenly bodies within about 10 degrees of separation. But the distance from us to them is a range of 2,400. The moon's close and Jupiter's not. So, and of course, Venus is not the brightest, the moon is, only because it's close, but it's a thin crescent. Stellarium shows it as a disk, but when you zoom in, you see the actual phase. Okay, next one. And more of the occult. June 17th, just before noon. Now this, if you're seeing the moon just before noon, it's east of due south, pardon me, and it moves this way as everything else goes this way because we rotate. So at 11:40, that white blob is Venus. And if you haven't looked at Venus and the moon in binoculars in the daytime, Venus is brighter than the moon because its albedo is like 0.82. 80% of the light bounces off it. The moon has the brightness of dull pavement. It's a medium gray. It looks bright in the night sky because that's black, but it is distinctly brighter, Venus is, compared to the moon. And when you see a crescent Venus and a crescent moon right side by each, that is a photo made in heaven. It's really cool to see. So that is the 17th at 11:40. Now the moon is moving this way because it actually orbits us in that direction. Next one. 11:40 to 12:52. So 1 hour, 72 minutes. And it pops out of the backside. And you should, it is possible if you know precisely where to look. if your eyesight's 20/20, to see Venus in the daylight. It's pretty bright now, and I've done it and you can see it, but boy, it's hard to find. Not so when you can find the moon. Then it's a piece of cake, but you should be able to see it naked eye. Next. Okay, another close conjunction. Now I'm moving well into July because their next meeting's September, so it's the sky these months. And I'm basically skipping across the high spots here. That's sort of the way I used to ski when I did downhill. I'd bounce off the tops of the moguls before I hit the tree. July 4th, 4 a.m. And that's looking east, northeast. You can see up here is the Pleiades, that's Capella. And there is Aldebaran in Taurus, is that right? Yeah, of course it is. That is Uranus. Mars and Uranus are 7 minutes apart from each other. That's 1/4 the width of the moon. That's a close conjunction. Next slide. This is just zoomed in. You can see the Pleiades, so you can find Mars, you know, it's pinky and so on. And that is way under 1 degree. So that little bright object up and to the right of Mars is the planet Uranus. And if you're really good, you may be able to see it naked eye. It has been done. But in binoculars, it's a piece of cake. Now, the day before, Mars is up and to the right of Uranus. The day after, it's moved another 1/2 degree down and to the left because Mars is moving and we're moving faster. So it appears to be moving quickly, prograde motion. But that'll be a great one if, you know, assuming we're not clouded out. Get up early for all of you morning people. I am not. And if you can find the Pleiades, boom, there's Mars and Uranus. And the Perseids. We got a good show this year because the moon is not in the picture. I wanted to do some more research on periodicities and the, you know, the number of meteors and so on. I did that once and I lost it. I don't know where it went and I ran out of time this afternoon. So there's your homework assignment, class. Go on to Wikipedia or your encyclopedia of choice and find it, because there's some wild patchiness to the debris streams from these. And the Perseids are sourced from Comet Swift-Tuttle, which I discovered a few years ago. Is it crosses, it's a very near Earth's orbit. It crosses just inside and then just goes out again. And it's 15 miles across. That's twice the size of the one they estimate did the dinosaurs. Now, I have it on good assurance. NASA tells us for sure it's not going to hit us before the year 3500. I sleep better at night because of that. That apophysis or whatever it is that might come back and smack us in 2035. Yeah, something like that. Well, I'll probably miss that one, but you know, who cares? Yes, the radiant, because it's so far north, it's up all night long. And the Perseids, the most I ever saw was about 100, 120 an hour. And that's cool because there's some of the faster ones. And if you're out, well, it's a dark sky. if you can get away from the street lights. There's no moon. So lie down on a lounge or a blanket or your partner and look up and prepare to be amazed. I mentioned in one of my articles, I was up at 4 a.m. watching the Perseids, and I just turned and looked back at the radiant, and all of a sudden, a bright light appeared, lasted 3 seconds, and went out. And it didn't move. I'm sure you figured out what that was. It was a Perseid coming straight at me. And I think, I am very, very happy we have a nice thick atmosphere. Because if you've seen noctilucent clouds, the ones that, like high cirrus, an hour after sunset, those are 90 kilometers up. They're in the mesosphere, and water vapor condenses directly into ice on dust from meteors. That's how high up these things disappear. So yeah, I got to see one that had my name on it coming right at me for 3 seconds, you know, and doing this isn't going to help. Okay. Yeah, the circle right here, that's Capella. And that's bright, you can see it easy, and it's due north because the radiant is quite near the North Pole. Perseus is circumpolar. Pardon? It's the peak is the 12th, but it's spread out. For 3 or 4 days around there, you can get over 50%, I believe, of the peak. Yeah. Well, there you go. Added bonus for free. Yeah, and I don't want a commission for that. Thank you. Okay, next one. And even more of the occult. September 8th, you're going to be able to see the moon do Jupiter. It won't be as bright as Venus because Jupiter, it's bigger, but the disk isn't as big and it's further out, so it's not as bright. And that is September 8th at 11:20 in the morning. Again, if you can find the moon, you can find Jupiter. I think that may be it. I can't remember. That's it. There we go.